We all have biases and blind spots, and of course, it's hard for me to really know what you've been through. And I would love to educate myself and learn how was your experience when you first came from Guatemala to Los Angeles and the prejudice that you faced back then and that you face now?
Well, when I came to United States, it was about surviving. It's interesting when everybody talk about the American dream. For a lot of trans people, it's about surviving, finding that place where you can be yourself. And for me, it was, um, I didn't know even the word transgender then. It was in 1998. I just knew that I was different and that my life was in risk. I was a victim of a hate crime in Guatemala, and then my family said, you got to go. You got to cut your hair, and then you have to leave. And that's why I ended up in this country. When I came here, I find a community. I find a trans community that actually were struggling, and there were like no resources. There was just sex work and lack of employment opportunities, and it was like living in the dark pretty much. And that was something that I refused to do since day one. And I um, I decided to do something about it. I decided that I had the love of my family. They always support me. They always make me feel. My mom always say to people like, I remember pretty well when I was a little kid, and I was just a little kid that wanted to dance. I was dancing all the time. There are a lot of pictures of me in parties, and I'm just dancing and being cute. And it was sad when to know that that little kid was not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then no matter what I was doing, like my uncles and everybody was like talking bad about me and talking about my future, and that they have to discipline me to change. And I was just like, I wanted to learn about like cooking. I wanted to learn about like doing like floral arrangements and stuff like that. And it was said to fail my life, to be honest with you. I know what fears is like. I know what discrimination is like. So when I came here and I find that there was a possibility of doing something good with your life, I took that path, and I decided to create the change that needs to happen.
And you see nowadays more resources available for your community than when you first got here? Or what do you think is like the number one pressing issue for the LGBT community?
Well, just what you mentioned. I mean, I'm an immigrant woman, transgender woman who came here and then became being in the country undocumented, and I'm managing a whole organization now with the LGBT Center. That is a big accomplishment, and when I got that position, a lot of my sisters, they were crying because they're like, you one of us, and I say like, yes, I'm one of you, and you can also be in this position and create change. I believe that I'm not want to be the spokesperson of the LGBTQ community, but I can talk about the T on that acronym. And I believe that the T is always being kind of like at the front of fights and movements, but at the moment when we talk about resources, a lot of times our gay men, the one are telling us what to do. The trans community always being like open about like, you wanna do a study with the community. You want me to educate you about like gender, and you want me to talk about like the struggles and the trauma that we've been through. That I believe it's time for us to make and manage our own programs and our own budgets.
That's amazing. Big progress.
Yeah, thank you. I believe that when you survive a lot of things in your life and you are a survivor, you need to find the reason why. Why I have to go through all that to be here today. And I think that's something that I do every day. I'm like, every morning I just think about like, I'm going up. I want to wear my colors. I want to put too much lotion in my legs that I cannot cross it today. I'm kind of like struggling with that. Little things like that, wearing high heels, being myself, putting makeup, for me is a celebration of life.
Yes, but what I find also very interesting is that theater has been that healing vehicle for you, and also the way that you have your voice be heard, and it's been one of your passions for many years. You're right now working on a project talking about Silvia Rivera, I believe. So why is theater so important for you?
That was my career. I graduated from the National School of Dramatic Arts in Guatemala. I went into the artistic area because they were open mind. And a lot of my professors, they were very successful and they were gay and they were very open about me being so androgynous and so different. When I start I always go for the female roles, and they were like, "Okay, why you keep doing that? You need to put a mustache and go and project your voice over there on the stage." And it was traumatic for them to push me in that direction. So I left theater behind. I came to this country. I find myself. I find the community. I find. The opportunity to be on the stage being myself. That was a long process because before it was about like just surviving. But the theater, the theater and be able to be on the stage as myself is still something that not many women like me can have, because safety for a trans person is definitely a big issue. More than
Still, will you say still, because I know violence is one of the main issues for the trans people.
Yeah, and when people talk about visibility, I mean, the LGBT community have like, oh, visibility day, everybody should be proud, everybody should grab the flag. But for a trans person, when people start talking about like this person is trans or something that you find different, it means putting your life in danger. So even in my own building, I'm not like so out. And I've been there for 8 years, and I'm still scared of people gonna know about who I am, because more than 27 women a year are killed because of prejudice and hate, and most of them are like definitely women of color, African American and Latino. So that's something that I always carry with me everywhere I go. It's just like, am I safe? Am I like allowed to be me? And that's things that I just carry with being myself.
But I also think that the important thing here is that you're writing. So you're also writing for your own community, because especially if you like the theater, I'm sure it's hard to find roles that truly represent you. So I also commend you for that. And then to finish, I would love to talk to you forever, but I know we gotta go. What would you say to a young person that is going through the journey that you went through coming to Los Angeles? Where can they go? Find community? What would be that piece of advice?
Uh, there are a lot of organizations. I feel like we're talking about the first thing that I believe we need to do is talking with our parents and our friends. And uh, I believe that my life is where it is at this point because the love of my family. So when you talk about with your mom about like things that you're scared of or things that people say, that connection is so important. That give you the whatever the world's saying about you, if you know that you are true to the people that are close to you, you can conquer anything. And I believe that there can be a lot of organizations over there, like the Trans Wellness Center, for example. That's the organization that I manage. We can help, but my goal is for these kids to talk with their parents and their parents to talk with their kids, because they need to not focus on their gender or their sexual orientation. They need to focus about going to school or accomplish their dreams, or finding that music in their heart, finding that. I'm writing because a lot of people have been writing about us for many years. A lot of people talk about the trans people, and they make us in the films. We get raped on the films, we get killed on films, and I'm kind of like, let me do it myself. I wanna find my own voice at this point.
Let us know. We'll be letting you know when your project comes out.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mariana.